It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and thanks for checking in the That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. It's also TBBO Tuesdays, a weekly feature brought to us by the amazing business networking group, Tampa Bay Business Owners Organization. And you can learn more about them and their many events, I should say, over at tbbo.org. And I've actually got in studio, instead of on the phone line with me today, the co-founder, Chris Kremitzos. Chris, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jamie. Thanks for having me in studio.
Thanks so much. He'd been saying for so long that I'm going to get in studio. I'm going to get in studio with you. Finally showed up this morning. So thanks to him for being in studio, an amazing community leader, podcaster, and just a great friend. So excellent person to know, and I highly recommend his organization. So if you're a business owner, check out tbbo.org. Also joined in studio this morning by Larry Harbolt, one of the nation's leading creative seller financing experts. Larry, good morning to you. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. Thank you.
Larry has been on the program with me before, so we'll get into a great discussion here in a little bit about seller financing, how you can find some real estate deals that are not on the market necessarily through the use of seller financing. But I wanted to open up the discussion. Chris, Larry, you two have an amazing history together. I can remember watching your show, Chris, years ago on public access television, and you talked with Larry many times, but tell the audience a little bit about your history together.
I started a public access show, I don't know, maybe it's 11 years. It's funny how the years go by. And I was at a conference, and I call him Uncle Larry, so we'll just refer to him as Uncle Larry. He actually threatened me. He said, if you don't have me on your show, I'll take you out back and whip you. And I was kind of afraid of him. So I said, this guy, he might be, he was a steam fitter, union man, so he might be able to take me on. So I said, I'll get you on the show. So we went on, we did a show. And little did I know how popular that segment would be. And all of a sudden, Larry would be a mainstay of our Millionaire Mindset show because of the real estate knowledge he had. But the funny part was he would wear his red power tie, his suit, and I would wear a suit as well. But when we were done with the show, he would get recognized all over town, and I would get crickets. So I didn't understand what was going on, and I thought he was putting me on when he goes, I was in McDonald's and so recognized me. Mm-hmm. And it was when I was done with the show, I'd put on shorts and a T-shirt. And since I was in my late 20s, I looked like I was 19. He was wearing his power tie suit all over town to see if he could get anyone to recognize him. But we had a lot of fun with that show, and we had a good time.
You sure did.
Larry, tell about your background. I mean, you got into real estate investing later in your life. You had a union background beforehand. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I started real estate back in the 70s, late 70s, but it was part-time. I was a union pipe fitter, and I did that until 1997 when my wife and I moved to Florida. Best thing I ever did, get out of that cold. And I've been doing the real estate now over 35 years.
Very cool. Now, Chris, your show, you had two shows, The Bleep and Truth and it was Millionaire Mindset, correct?
Yeah, so I had a similar situation like yourself. You remember you were on vacation and you had Topher and Katie go at it on your show?
That was the most memorable moment, by the way, yes.
Right,
yes.
So I had to go on vacation and I didn't have anyone I trusted to host The Bleep and Truth. That was a political debate show. So I asked Uncle Larry, I said, hey, you want to take this on? He goes, absolutely, this is great. I'll host a debate or whatever. And we have this guy that was running for Senate at the time. So it turns out that the Library of Congress winds up archiving that show.
He was actually telling that story before the show. That's interesting that you bring that up. Tell us about that show. Who were the candidates? What was the discussion points?
I have no idea.
He doesn't remember.
No, you remember who the candidates
were?
That's
the funny part. He was just like plug and play. He did his thing,
yeah.
And then Library of Congress calls us and they said we want to archive this show. And so then we gave him an award for being archived in the Library of Congress. We didn't tell everybody it was the Bleep and Truth, but it was just a lot of fun back then.
I'm still in the Library of Congress. That's
just
all
a couple
that
of
matters.
minor party candidates that were on the program that we've not since heard of. Chris, whatever became of your shows, Bleep and Truth, Millionaire Mindset? I mean, it's been many years now since I've seen you on television.
Well, Millionaire Mindset actually transitioned into the Tampa Bay Business Owners. So as we know it today, I really don't talk about it because it's like a long, convoluted history. But we had such a base of amazing business owners. I sent out an email to about 300 of them. 99 showed up. I actually remember Akash Patel was starting to network at that time. Just so you know, like the history of this.
Yeah.
It was at an American Legion because Larry and his peers are all cheap, so they only rent American Legions. So I asked them for advice. They said, put it in a Legion, which actually was great advice, honestly, for a test run. And I say that jokingly. But the American Legion, the air condition broke. It was June, July. And the boys, the night before, the Legionnaires were smoking cigars. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for, like, a worse situation. But people saw the passion, what we were trying to do, and people like Larry was 001. He's the first member of TBBO. He's the founding member. Doesn't get any earlier than Larry Harbaugh. So he and I have a huge history. And we started that. 20 people stepped up, said we want to be part of it. So anyone that's part of TBBO is part of Millionaire Mindset. It's the expansion of it.
Very cool.
The Bleepin' Truth, I think it had huge political legs to be, and Larry could attest this, it was one of the best debate shows on TV, period, even though it was here locally. But I didn't want to pursue it because we'd all get migraines. I would get migraines after each show because the people would just be arguing. I mean, it was... we would get characters like Alex Jones from InfoWars, not him per se, but people like him.
I was going to say, okay.
Debating polar opposites like a Bernie Sanders, okay? So in today's world, the political climate is already polarized, right? We were doing this 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it didn't exist. So it was a very interesting show. We would have, a hunter dressed up like Elmer Fudd debating a vegan. We would have someone from the Church of Scientology debating a born-again preacher, the ones that stay outside the strip clubs in Ybor telling you we're all going to hell. So it was like we were really pioneering. My favorite thing I've ever gotten, I remember, you might remember this, Larry. We had a young gentleman. Back then, I used to get all my guests from Craigslist. That's when people used to actually respond to Craigslist. It was popular. So one guy calls me up.
I respond to Craigslist all the time.
Okay, for certain niches, like now certain niches for
I
show
got kicked
guests.
off that corner though.
Yeah, there you go. For show guests, it's tougher now. But back then, I used to get my crew everything from Craigslist, and someone says, "I think I might have a topic for your show." I said, "All right." He goes, "I'm not controversial, but I think I have something." And I said, "What's the topic?" He goes, "Well, I thought I was gay, but I went to a Bible camp and I'm cured." I said, "Have you been with a woman since?" He said, "No." I said, I need you on my show." So on one side, I put Joe Redner on, so he represented, the devil. And on the other side, we had a born-again preacher, and you'd see the two of them arguing with this kid, and this kid just looked more confused as it went on. Joe saying, be gay, go get, what you got to go. The other guy is stay away from, that, go to the light. So it was just this polarity, which is what Bleepin' Truth was known for. I was really proud of that.
And Joe Redner got known also in another show, right, with the chair throwing incident there. That put you on the national stage. We've talked about that a few times. But who was the person he was debating on that show?
Tony Katz. He was a local. He's now on MSNBC, believe it or not. A lot of these people use the credentials to go into the nationals. But they got in a fight over, I remember it was over Israel something back then. And it wasn't even over Israel. It's just they hated each other, And Joe called the guy fat. That was his childhood button. That was what, got him when he was a kid, I guess. And he literally, and this was a live show. So the beauty about public access, you don't see this too often. I mean, Stephen Colbert the other day after the Super Bowl did a live show. You don't hear that too often. So live means anything that happens goes out.
Right.
And when it's public access, no one really cares because no one's really watching. But our show had quite a bit of a viewership. So when the guy left the studio, he literally found the heaviest chair he could and flung it across the studio. Now, we couldn't see it because when you're in a studio, there's a halo, like lighting grid. So anything past the lighting grid, you really can't see. It's all
I know. I've been on stage doing comedy before, and the lights are like in your eyes.
Pretty much, you're blinding.
Yeah,
so
you can't see the audience very well.
So all I see is like a blurry thing coming at me, and I ducked. Luckily for me, it hooked to the left and hit Joe. But luckily for him, it hit the table before it hit his head.
Yeah.
Because Joe was 67 years young. You have a 50-pound chair flying at that velocity and hitting you in the temple, he would have been in the hospital.
That was live on TV right about as you were going off the air, but it caught the entire scene.
My technical director never hit the mark on a closing show. That day, he hit everything perfectly. So the national networks thought we staged it because our logo went up at the perfect time. You could hear people yelling at each other, and boom, the show was done. Last minute of the show. Imagine if it happened 30 minutes in. Now I got to fill 30 minutes with no guests.
Yeah, and I mean, you got national attention out of that thing. I mean, if you go onto YouTube and you Google this, there's a number of different segments. I saw one of them that had like 100,000 views. If you Google Joe Redner.
It was on the Today Show. It was on 300 affiliate outlets. It was so popular. We crashed. Back then, AOL was still a big deal, AOL.com. We crashed their servers because people kept clicking to see the chair going across. And then the next day, this was interesting, and Larry might remember this. There was a Spanish janitor that only knew Spanish. I think he was from El Salvador in the studio. Great guy. He was just a worker bee, did his thing. He never really acknowledged me, even though I said, hey, good morning, how you doing? Because he was just doing his job. The next day, he looked at me, he goes, I saw you on Telemundo, and what was the other, Univision? He goes, you're famous. He goes, and famoso. He starts looking at me. So I knew that the clip had gone full circle when the janitor that, was just doing his thing must have seen it run over and over. It was a lot of fun, and what was interesting is I was trying to book guests for that month for Millionaire Mindset, and they never returned my calls. When that clip on Bleep and Truth hit, I got all my calls got returned.
Put you on the map right away.
It'd be the opposite. I'd like, they're never going to come on a show that chairs fly out their heads. But when people see the attention, they recognize it.
Whatever. I mean, with public access, how does that work? Is that free programming? You just go out and apply to get on?
It kind of used to be. Now with YouTube and the internet, you basically could get on. They charge some money to raise funds, but it was a great thing when it was around. I mean, Larry and I got our start from public access. We learned. I remember one time, you were a guest and we lost like 20 minutes of tape. We just lost the whole show. Because you got a volunteer crew, so it's like someone forgot to hit record or something. And I was flipping out. And he was like, I'm fine. Let's just do it over. So we did the whole show over. That was a recorded
I tell you
show.
what, though, it's fun doing just live programming, whether it's television or podcasting. And Chris is a huge supporter of the local podcasting scene. I got to take a quick break, but coming back, we're going to talk about PodFest coming up here in the next few weeks, actually, isn't it? Yeah, that's coming up the next few weeks. A great event to help brand yourself and your business through the use of podcasting. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about that. And also we'll be talking a little about seller financing options here in a little bit with Larry Harbolt, and he's got a couple of students in studio also. We'll be hearing from them on the back side of the show about their experiences with his program. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. 4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines. 3, personally available year-round. And number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Good morning. Police on scene of a crash on eastbound Bloomingdale Avenue at Springvale Drive. That is just east of Bell Shoals Road. Also another crash at Causeway and US 301 causing delays through that intersection. Northbound 275 looks good between the Howard Franklin Bridge and downtown Tampa. No more delays to report near Dale Mabry and Himes. And also a crash on northbound 275 near 54th Avenue North off to the side. Had traffic slow from downtown St. Petersburg. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life.
She didn't just visit the sick and poor. She moved in with them because they needed help. Mother Teresa couldn't do it all, but she gave her all. Compassion. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Windy, a few sprinkles, partly cloudy, high 58. Partly cloudy and breezy tonight, low 45. Tomorrow, breezy, high 58.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to the TBBO Tuesdays edition of That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Currently in studio with co-founder of the Tampa Bay Business Owners, Chris Kermissos, and also alongside seller financing expert Larry Harbolt. And Chris, PodFest is coming up. Let's talk to the audience about this. This is a very exciting event that's coming up. I think it's February 25th, around there?
Yeah, 25th, 26th, 27th. We've already booked next year's PodFest, so it's getting bigger and bigger. We're expecting, last year we had about 100 people. This year we have 200. But the thing with podcasting is there's people that say to me, I don't have time for podcasting. Great. Well, you could be a verified expert on podcasts that give you third-party backlinks and referral traffic that could build your website and your reputation. And these podcasts are evergreen, which means once they're out there, people find them and listen to them. So
and this really is a growing movement amongst the business community, is people getting out there. And let's start with a basic question, because I even get to ask this today. What is a podcast?
A podcast is episodic content delivered through the internet. Now, we know it as audio content, but technically, if you look at the definition, it could be video content.
It's anything where you get behind a microphone, whether it be yourself.
Episodic.
Yeah, and put on regular episodes, and it could be a video, could be audio. You could have a guest, could just be you, but it's a way to disseminate your information and make yourself stand out as an expert in your industry. And there's a number of different podcasters. I know I've seen several that have come through my show that have started their own podcasts as being on the show. And I mean, you don't have to get on terrestrial radio such as myself. I do put this up on iTunes as a podcast, but anybody for a few $100s and a computer can start getting set up. And this is something that you're going to be teaching at PodFest, as well as how to start a podcast.
Yeah, the main thing with podcasting is not just how to start a podcast, which we have people that'll help people set you up with your podcast, but it's collaborating with other podcasters, because that's where really the magic happens, because they have audiences and they share ideas, and there's no one way to monetize a podcast. I've seen 10 different ways I've seen podcasters monetize their podcast. So it's a growing trend. If I were to tell you, if you would say, Chris, on the growth cycle, where are we podcasting? If you look at a little child, we're at the 5-year phase. So it's going to grow fast. Next 3 years, we're going to go from the 5-year-old, getting ready to walk, to the teenager phase in about 2 to 3 years. And what that means is the traffic, the audience, it's coming online huge. Everybody saw Netflix start as a mail order company, and then now it's the largest, subscriber base. They have Netflix. I don't know if this is correct, but I think I read they had $6 billion for development of shows. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about that, $6 billion.
Right.
So these on-demand things are just blowing up, and podcasting is huge. The real estate niche is probably one of the hottest niches in podcasting, as well as health and wellness.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to learn about it, come out. You'll learn from other people that are doing it, monetizing it. Most of the people are already making quite a bit of money.
Yeah, well, that's the number one question I get, is how do you monetize it? And it's just through sponsors and giving back. But I mean, the huge value in it is in the ability to differentiate yourself from your customers. I mean, if you have a podcast or radio show or something like that, and I'm looking at you for a service versus the person that doesn't, I mean, I'm going to give you instant credibility. Sort of like writing a book, I always say. It speaks to your credibility.
Well, and Larry is a creative finance expert, so someone like him he has courses to sell. So he would do the creative finance podcast Creative Financing and Real Estate Podcast. That's exactly what you would name it. And then he would just give sound bites, and then people would listen to those sound bites. But at the end of the sound bites, said, "Hey, if you want to learn about it, go to my website and purchase this course." So it's kind of like a calling card, but people get to know the person, and they wind up investing in your courses. So there's people that don't care about sponsorship. They care about selling their courses, and many of those people make more money than if they were to get sponsors.
Yeah. Tickets, are they still available? What's the venue and availability for tickets right now?
Yeah, the tickets, you go to podfest.us. Tickets have gone up in price until tomorrow at midnight. If you use the code FINAL, FINAL, lowercase, you could get a discount on the tickets. But it's a 3-day conference. Those of us that live in Tampa Bay are very fortunate that it's here locally, but most of the people are flying in.
Yeah, you got people coming all across the country for this.
I got people from California, Canada. Yeah. So this is the first time I've done what would be considered an international conference. And then next year we're expecting 500 people. This year is probably one of the best years to get started because you meet all these people on the grassroots as they're building their audiences on their way up. So you can make some really good strategic.
Yeah, and so this movement is really based here in Tampa. I'm going to be one of the speakers. I'm going to be speaking about terrestrial radio, building a network.
You're on a panel on how to build a network, and you're on with Glenn Hebert of the Horse Radio Network and Justin Crossley of the Brewing Network.
Yeah, speaking about monetizing, the gentleman, he's got a podcast network centered around just horses, and he's grown it to phenomenal lengths. I know I've listened to him speak a number of times. It's just something around the horse shows. I mean, who would have think? I'm working on building a network around business. I'm casting a very wide net. This gentleman did it just through horses. Who would have ever thought?
Yeah, and there's actually tonight is our monthly podcasting meetup. So if anyone wants to attend, it's only $10. It's at McAllister's Deli, which is right next to Eddie V's across from the International Mall. 6:30 p.m. tonight, we all meet up. There's about 20 to 30 of us that get together, and we're talking about ranking on New and Noteworthy in iTunes and monetization.
Yeah, and you always get a good turnout on that. I was usually about 30, 40 people, and who would think, consistently at the local podcast meeting there. So let's get back over to Larry. Now, your expertise, seller financing. Chris, talk to me about, you worked with him through the years. You've been on shows together. Tell me about your experience with Larry. You told me you saw him negotiate a great deal with a school teacher one time.
I had a friend that was a school teacher, and she was trying to buy a house, and she said, "I can't afford it." And I said, "Well, how can we afford it?" And we met this old timer. This was in just north of Kennedy, right behind Fox 13, somewhere in that area. And I said, let's talk to the owner. And I said, "Would you be willing to do creative financing?" He said, "Sure." He was an old timer and a veteran. And I called Uncle Larry and I said, "Larry, I need your help." He said, "All right." And he sat down at the kitchen table. Literally, I'd never seen anything like it. He just hammered a deal at the kitchen table with this old timer. I just remember he used simple interest, whatever that means, like Larry could tell you. But he hand wrote this contract, and the old timer was kind of apprehensive at first. And the way Larry spoke to him took all the reservations out, and he made him feel very comfortable. And literally, we took a $250,000 house with it was all owner financing that he hammered out. And we were about to do the deal. The teacher actually felt uncomfortable because she was not used to deals happening that way. But it was magical just to watch him negotiate at the kitchen table with someone, and I saw it firsthand. So I was very fortunate to have that opportunity.
Very cool. We got to take a break here at the bottom of the hour here, but what we're going to do when we come back, I'm going to hear all about Larry's program. And again, if you're not familiar with what seller financing is, it's a situation where essentially you become the bank, and so you can sell your home, you can set your terms, set your price, whatever, ways to get creative with this. And this is an area where Larry teaches courses, and we're also going to be hearing from a couple of his students also in the last segment of the show. So he's world-renowned for this, and you can learn more about this over at LarryHarbolt.com. But coming back from the break, we're going to hear about some of his tips and techniques with regard to seller financing. So an excellent tool to use here in the real estate market. You're currently listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring type products: hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
that intersection. Northbound 275 looks good between the Howard Franklin Bridge and downtown Tampa. No more delays to report near Dale Mabry and Himes, and also a crash on northbound 275 near 54th Avenue North off to the side. Had traffic slow from downtown St. Petersburg. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council. So many of you thought about becoming teachers when you were little. Well, it's time to put it back on your list. Innovative things are happening in teaching today. Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Teach.org. Make more. Teach.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. Cooler today into the mid-50s for the high. We'll see more clouds and sunshine. Windy conditions and 20% chance of isolated showers. Mid-upper 40s for the low. Tomorrow back up around 60. More sunshine. Winds are going to stick with us. Then low 60s. Thursday, Friday back in the upper 60s near 70. Impact Radio 1250 winds.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to the program, everybody. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Every weekday mornings at 8 a.m. here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And also, we've expanded the brand to include a sixth show each and every week. That show, entitled That Business Show, the Real Estate Edition, airs Sunday mornings at 5 a.m. on 970 WFLA. And I and my co-host, Frank Cotto of the Lincoln Lending Group, get down to business talking all about real estate each and every week. And it's an excellent resource about what's going on in the Tampa Bay real estate market. So I'm sure many of you are probably not up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning, so we do make that available on demand over on TampaBayRadio.com, as well as on iTunes. And also, we're going to be featuring Larry this coming week up on the real estate edition as well. He's an expert here in seller financing. So, Larry, I'll let you kind of explain your program a little bit and how you got involved. Tell me about, first off, how you got involved with seller financing to begin with.
Well, when I started back in the 70s, my wife and I didn't have a lot of money. And so there was no way I could get a loan. I had no money and I had lousy credit because I had a large family. And so we had to be creative because there was no way we could get a loan. So we started buying properties from local banks that had taken them back in foreclosure on what were known as land contracts. A land contract is where you pay the seller every month for 10, 20, or 30 years. And we bought those properties, and they would even front the money for the rehab, so that, because I didn't have the money. And then as I brought in receipts and pictures, they would release the money to pay the contractors. So I started on a shoestring when I had nothing. And that was, like I said, in the 70s. Now, through the years, why would I ever want to change a strategy that works where I don't have to take all the money I can get my hands on to put into one deal? I can take the same money and do several deals.
Right. You're using the power of leverage. The key difference
Absolutely.
with your program is you're using seller financing where the person owns the property outright and they're acting as the bank. The challenge with this may be, though, where do you find these deals where the owner is able to be in a position to offer seller financing? You have some, I think that's probably some of the proprietary information you have in your program, but I mean, finding the deals can be a challenge for some people, correct?
Well, basically, my wife and I send letters. But we send letters to non-owner occupied free and clear properties that are paid for. And our logic is, if you have owned a property for 30 years, and let's say you bought it when you were 30, and you fought with tenants and toilets for the 30-year period, you probably held the property for some type of a retirement. And because they didn't live in it, if they sold it and get all cash, they're going to have a huge tax burden. Where if they will take payments from me, it can work like an annuity or a retirement fund. I can make them payments every month, and I can stretch it out longer depending on how we structure the deal. So it can be win-win for both of us. But I have to buy them so that a tenant that I'm going to put in the property, that I'm going to rent them, can afford the property.
Right. It has to make financial sense for both parties. And I was just going to ask you, I think you raised an excellent point there, but why would a seller consider doing seller financing? I think a lot of people just want to take the money and run, so to speak. But if they do what you just said there, it acts like an annuity and it reduces their tax burden. What are some of the other benefits for a seller to offer seller financing?
Well, number one, the taxes they pay will only be on the 12 payments I send them every calendar year. Number two, if they sold and got cash, they're going to lose approximately a third of it to taxes. And so that's money that they'll never get back. And what are they going to do with what's left? Put it in the bank at 0.25% interest? That is not a good retirement program. I can come in and I can buy the property, give them the monthly income. I can give them 16 times what interest that they would get if they put it in the bank. Now, you notice I said 16 times. I didn't say 4%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a negotiating strategy. But I'm trying to give them what it is they need or they want, not just throw dollars at deals.
Now, do you get involved with any traditional sales that are on the multiple listing service where you'd have to get a traditional loan? You've always been through the seller financing, the route. You found that to be very profitable for you?
Right.
How many deals roughly have you put together then through the years as a real estate investor?
I've been involved in a couple hundred.
Now. And then how long have you been teaching and giving coursework on the program?
I did my first class in 2003.
Okay. And we got a couple of your students here in studio today. We got Elia Luti and Ava Kovacs, and they've also started a company as a result of this, Real Helpful Solutions, and they actually have a website too, realestatehelpfulsolutions.com. Elia and Ava, welcome to the program today. Elia, tell me about your experience working with Larry.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Eva and I are the products of Larry's teachings. We learn many things from many good mentors around the area. Among these guys, one of the best, according to us, is Jack Linehan, which is not a mentor. He doesn't do courses, but he's a very good friend that taught us a lot of things. We took all of Larry's classes so far, and we came here from Europe with basically nothing. We had barely any experience, even though I was investing in real estate together with my father, with my family, but we had very little money and no credit. We still don't have any credit. But through his teachings, we're actually managing to create a good business. And the main thing is that through this creative approach to business, to acquiring properties, we get to help people. So not only we're achieving our dreams, but we're helping people in improving their lives, helping them out of uncomfortable situations. So I think this is amazing.
Yeah, your slogan is "We buy houses, helping people." Elaborate on this, because I think that's a core mission of yours, is to help people.
Yeah, that's correct. We like to say that we buy houses helping people because putting together the teachings of Larry's and other guys, as I mentioned before, we found a way to help people that believes or they think they cannot sell their properties. And we do owner financing. We mainly use lease options so far. And we found out that we can help in situations where people don't believe that they can sell their house because sometimes they own more than what the house is worth, or they just don't want to have the burden of their mortgage. So we can just step in uncomfortable situation, help them out, and make a good deal for all the parties involved.
How long have you been working with Larry now?
We've been in the U.S. since 2011. We go back and forth. It took us a while because of our visa, and we spent here altogether 34 months so far. And we found out about Larry going to his Monday night meeting, and since then we started to take a class, then the second one. And the great thing about these mentors that we have in this area, that they are not just the gurus after selling tapes and classes, but they are real people doing deals every day. So you actually get to learn from them. They are one phone call away from us. So we became friends, invited us to TBBO, which has been a great organization for us to improve our business and ourselves. So we're constantly learning, working with them, and improving ourselves. So it has been a great experience, and we know each other for, I think, the last 4 years now.
How many deals have you done now? So I was on your website. You got a few deals up there that are available.
Yeah, we're working on updating the website right now. We're going to change the look, and we're going to update our properties. So far, in the 34 months that we spent in the U.S., we made 11 transactions. We are proud of what we did because we're not the big investment firm. We're just a small business starting out. We're new, we're young investors. And we are going for our American dream. And again, started with very little money, barely any experience, and no bank credit. I think we achieved very good results. But this is what we're all about, just improving, get to learn from each other, and help each other out, anybody involved in the transaction.
And you came over from, where was it, Italy?
I'm from Italy, the north part, right about Tuscany.
And so what drew you to America? Was it chase the American dream, start a business? I mean, what got you to the
Yes, that's correct. I was working as a waiter. That's how I got to meet my wife. around Europe. I thought that was the only way for me to travel. Then I met her, and she made me understand that there was much more into me, and I started to dig into personal development. Through that, I became a salesman, and I started to invest in real estate with my family in Italy. We were buying houses at the auctions together with my father. And he was taking care mainly of everything, all the aspects of the business. Learning from other investors in the area, we found a way to invest in the States, and we came here with Italian investors. That didn't work out well for many reasons, and now we are conducting our own family business, and that's how we're doing. Step by step, we're not after the big chunk of money. We want to create wealth long-term, helping people along the way.
Consistent transactions that create win-win transactions.
Absolutely,
for
that's
all
our main
people
goal.
involved. And that's good
priority.
because there's a lot of real estate investors that have the one-sided mentality that they get engaged in very shisty deals.
Right, we're not speculators, we are investors, and we have the long-term vision for the...
And that's good to hear that because I've worked with many investors through the years, and I've seen a lot of them come and go, and it draws in some of the worst from the community with regard to real estate. And Tampa has had a problem with through the years with mortgage fraud and things of that nature.
We are young, and we want to do it right, and create a good aura around our name, and make sure that everybody understands what we are about.
So, Ava, I'll put you on the microphone for a second there. What's your role at the company?
I do background operations. As you can see, I'm not very comfortable
That's
talking
all right.
and being in the center of attention. But yes, I answer phone calls. I write the letters. As Larry said, we do the same thing as he does.
How are you finding your deals? Are you sending out the letters? Are you door knocking? Are you networking? Where are you finding the deals?
We're doing
right there?
all of that, all of the above that you
'Cause
just
that's
mentioned. We're using Larry's source for the letters. We walk neighborhoods. That has worked out very well for us.
I always tell people if you're looking for your deal solely in the multiple listing service, you're really hamstringing yourself, really narrowing it down because everybody sees those deals. You got to get out there and do a little bit of that legwork. You got to send out those letters and you got to
Absolutely.
knock on those doors. What are some of the other ways that you may recommend that people find some deals other than just looking in the multiple listing service?
Well, I don't look at the MLS at all. We do the letters, and as they said, knock on doors, talk to people. You know, when my mentor taught me, when you see uncomfortable circumstances with a seller, talk to them. See if you can help solve a problem that will benefit both of you. And one thing I want to say about these two, I'm very proud of them because as someone who teaches, you can teach 1 million people, but nobody's going to benefit from it if they don't take action.
And they've taken some
They've
action
taken
here.
action. That's why I'm so proud of them, is because they listen. They do what you tell them to do, and then they're just living proof you can go out and you can do deals.
Now, they mentioned Monday night meetings. How does this work? Are you still holding Monday night meetings?
I have a Monday night meeting for investors that I've been doing for 16 and a half years, every Monday night, including holidays. We're there. We've been doing that. It's at the Hibachi Buffet in Pinellas Park, 49th Street and Park Boulevard. It's for investors. It's a networking meeting. We never have a speaker. It's just people pitching properties that they have under contract, people looking for things. It's a place where friends get together, have a meal, network, and hopefully do business and make money.
And it's open to generally anybody. Then, so
Anybody is welcome.
Anybody listening
And
out there can come to one of these events or one
And
of
if
these
it's
meetings.
Monday, there is a meeting.
Very cool. And it's not dependent on holidays. You say you even have them on the holidays, huh?
We have them, except Christmas and New Year's, I don't have a meeting. But every other holiday, Labor Day, Memorial Day, we're there.
And you've been doing this, 16 years?
16 and a half years, every week.
Wow, that's incredible. How many people usually turn out to the meetings, roughly?
Well, right now, we're averaging around 90 to 95.
Wow, that's incredible. The wealth of knowledge that's in that room. And there's so many other ways to invest in real estate. Your specialty being seller financing, but there's a number of other ways to get into the real estate market.
Of course.
And now is a great time to get into real estate investing. Interest rates at record lows, very creative ways to get financing for properties. And it's an excellent way to build your net worth. So many people have become millionaires through real estate, probably more so than any other products.
That's
would you
right.
not say? I mean, better than the stock markets, better than the bond markets, and all the other ways to create wealth.
Got
Real
me
estate,
interested just off the Chinese food.
creating.
Well, but here's one of the things. That meeting, we are like a family. and good people come to that meeting. We don't allow anybody that's a scumbag that's going to come in and rip somebody off.
Mm-hmm.
If we find out about those people, they hit the door.
Yeah.
Because it's about doing business with friends, and we really watch each other's backs. So anybody that wants to come and join us, you can feel safe. You do your homework, but you can feel safe that it's not going to be somebody nipping at your wallet trying to take advantage of you, or I will throw them out.
We're currently in studio here with Larry Harbolt, expert real estate investor specializing in seller financing. You can learn more about him and his course over at larryharbolt.com, and also got a couple of his students here in studio, Elia Luti and Ava Kovacs. They are with Real Helpful Solutions, and they have a website, realestatehelpfulsolutions.com. You're currently listening to That Business Show. Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Good morning. Some good news for northbound 275 drivers. No more delays between West Shore and Dale Mabry. That's due to overnight road crews opening up an additional lane near Himes. Also, we've got slow traffic still on southbound 275 between Fletcher and Sly, southbound Veterans Expressway between Gun Highway and Waters, and the crash still being cleared on northbound 301 at Causeway. See traffic problems? Call the entry firm of Abrahamson, Udor, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Think It Up.
Hi, I'm Nick Jonas, and I'm here to tell you about Think It Up, a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at thinkitup.org.
Windy, a few sprinkles, partly cloudy, high 58. Partly cloudy and breezy tonight, low 45. Tomorrow, breezy, high 58.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And everybody, thanks for staying tuned in to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. It's also TBBO Tuesdays, brought to us by the Tampa Bay Business Owners Organization. Learn more about them and their many events over at tbbo.org. In studio with expert real estate investor Larry Harbolt. Learn more about him over at larryharbolt.com, and two of his students, Elia Luti and Ava Kovacs, owners of Real Helpful Solutions. Visit realestatehelpfulsolutions.com for more information on them. And Elia, tell me a little bit more about what you're doing with your program with the houses that you get as a result of your learnings from Larry.
We started in the beginning that we wanted to fix up property and resell them. That's how we started. That was the original idea when we came here from Europe. Then the market changed and we acquired new knowledge. So we adapted through the knowledge that we were acquiring. And today our main goal is to create a portfolio of properties to hold on to and rent them out long-term or short-term. So what we do with the house is we fix it up, we refresh it, and we find good tenants that keep up the properties, and we rent the properties out. This keeps the property value going up. Of course, the goal for us is to negotiate the right terms that are favorable for the sellers, because we have to understand, to sit down at the kitchen table, just as Larry is teaching us, to understand what their needs are, what is that they're looking for, and for us, a time frame long enough and monthly payments that make sense for us to rent the property out and make some money out of it, because we're doing this, as I said, for a retirement plan. So we'll own to property, we rent them out. We started recently to rent property out seasonally, and that's working out perfectly for us. So this is a great experience, and that's how we've been doing it. How we
You mentioned seasonal rentals. You don't see too much seasonal rentals in the Tampa Bay marketplace, but you're doing some seasonal rentals as well?
This, I think, is a niche of the market that is definitely picking up. We're using different websites, different platforms to advertise our properties on, and even checking back a few months ago, you can see the numbers of properties available on the market that are just picking up constantly. So it is something that is really going on.
What's the sweet spot of the market that you like price point? Where works well with the program that you're implementing right now?
Due to what we're learning from people like Larry, we are getting very flexible and creative. So we don't want to tie ourselves onto any rules. We had a house under contract that was a $800,000 house, and that was a creative deal. We were giving as a down payment, as an option fee, the option we had on another property and so forth. It was a very creative deal. So we analyze everything, but mainly what we like to hold on to long term are properties that are worth below $200,000 because of the payments that are on the house normally. Now, Larry has a different goal, has a different target. He looks for people that own the property outright, free and clear. We would like to get in touch with those people, but we are open to negotiate deals even with people that have a mortgage on the house, and sometimes that's what makes them uncomfortable. And that's why we are out there to help them out to solve the situation.
Yeah, most real estate investors that I deal with operate anywhere in the under $200,000 and under market. He mentioned that you had a deal that you're working on $800,000.
Yes.
Wow. Do you work with properties at that price point too, Larry? I mean, do the numbers work at that point?
No, because for me, the numbers
rents
don't work.
Yeah, the numbers
I can't
don't work at
rent
that
it
price.
for enough to cover the nut. But one thing I did want to mention for them is when you are buying it and you're going to keep it long term, price is less relative if you can get a payment that will allow you to cash flow the property. So that's where the negotiation comes in. For instance, I can give you the $200,000 you want for your house if you'll take $600 a month until paid. That way you can rent it for $1,000, $1,200, and you can at least cash flow something.
Yeah, I've listened to you speak before, and you really don't. You focus more on terms versus the price when you're at a table talking to a seller. Correct.
But that's how you create wealth. You let someone else pay for your asset because they pay you rent, and someday when they're paid for, then like my mentor Peter Fortunato said, you look like a genius.
Very cool. Elliot, tell me your view of the Tampa Bay marketplace. A lot of people are seeing this as still sitting on the sidelines and afraid to get in, but I mean, you've jumped right in there. So give some talk to the community about what you're seeing out there in the Tampa Bay marketplace.
As I said, Eva and I have been around since 2011. So for us, this 2016 is going to be the 5th year that we are actively investing in the mainly Pinellas County so far. We did consider over here the bridge in Tampa. But yes, the market definitely changed. The prices went up. Rents are going up like crazy. So there are some consideration to take out of this improvement, out of this changement. And we don't consider the MLF whatsoever, just like Larry's teaching us. So there have been many changements. And back to the question you asked me previously, I wanted to say that, yes, we don't have any deal that we would disregard. Because, yes, there are properties that we target, but those that we don't want to keep or that we can't afford of keeping long term, we can always resell them or wholesale them. So we consider anything, and there is always, regardless of the market, there are always opportunities up there. So we just have to adapt to what the on how the market is moving. And with Larry's teachings and all these investors in the area, there are always new techniques to help everybody and make money along the way, whatever the cycle is at.
Well, congratulations on your success and for what you're doing for our community. Elliot Luti with his partner Ava Kovacs here in studio. Thank you so much for being in studio today. And you can learn more about them, realestatehelpfulsolutions.com. Also, Larry, thanks so much for being in studio, and we'll see you on the real estate edition.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you on the real estate edition, getting a little bit more in depth on that on this Sunday, and that'll be available up on TampaBayRadio.com as well. Also, thanks to Chris Kremitzes for being in here on this TBBO Tuesdays. And again, you've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.